mate. Welcome to the DisDat podcast, bro. Coming at you live from Sydney. And, came here on a skateboard today. Episode 112 of the DisDat podcast. My cousin Vlad came here on a skateboard, bro. Came on an electric skateboard, and I don't care. I loved it. It was a nice, I don't know how many kilometers, but it was half an hour it took me on this skateboard. I maxed out the battery that it can go about 15 k's, this thing, in distance. And that's for a tank like me riding it. But I rode it here and I loved it. And one of the interesting things was I was bombing down this hill. Sorry, there's a few burps going on. I was bombing down this hill on the way here, and I saw a friend of mine. He's not a friend, he's like an acquaintance. He's definitely not a friend. I never speak to him, and we cross each other's paths several times in the local area. We don't even say hi to each other. So some guy that I once talked to many years ago, I was at a house party once at his house. I ended up grabbing some chick, and grabbing, if you're going to cut that, means talking to, and then she gave me her number, and then we ended up dating. So don't go cutting, oh, he's grabbing chicks, he's a misogynist, and Andrew Tate me. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Less hate, more Andrew Tate. Well, whatever. Like, just get me out of that basket is what I'm trying to say. But I was at his place, and we were having a barbecue. I'm talking 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years ago now, like when he started uni and stuff like that, just out of high school. And I remember him, but anyway, I'm bombing down this hill, and I'm enjoying life. I've got a helmet on because I'm a responsible father that doesn't want to destroy his head. Like, I know I'd graze my body down to the bone if I fell off going 40 kilometers down a hill with a backpack full of, recording paraphernalia. But I ended up seeing this guy driving up a hill in an Audi, respect, SQ7 with personalised number plates, not respect, of his surname, definitely not respect. And he was coming up the hill. He didn't notice me because I was like in disguise, as I always am, lone wolf licking rivers. Don't want to be known throughout the general populace of who I really am. I need to go undercovers just in case I have to work again, which is not going to happen. But by the way, thanks to all the beautiful Vladiators here. Another round of applause to you guys. Thanks for keeping the train moving forward, onward and upward. We're taking off into the stratosphere, going worldwide, bro. We're not going to have to go back to real estate and pretend all day. Why? Why would you do that? It's not where your skill set is, Vlad. You know where your skill set is. It's here, rapping on a mic, rapping in real life, WRAP. That's how we are. I'm the rap god. Anyway, I seen this bloke, and he's of a Balkan descent, let's just say, a head like a fucking box from Bunnings. And he didn't see me, but I saw him, and I was just thinking about his character from 20 years ago. He was like, he used to get on the terps and all of that. He'd love a bit of Slivovitsa. Let's just give you a hint of where he's from. Loves a plum that's been juiced down to a 50% alcohol content rating. And he was coming up the hill on SQ7 on the phone, I think illegally. So, you know, if you're a cop, you know, look him up. Now, I'm not snitching. I'm no rat. You know what I mean? I ain't no snitch. And I'm bombing down a hill on a skateboard. Now, 20 years ago, I was bombing down hills on skateboards, and he was buffing the bonnet of his car while he lived at his parents' house. In 20 years later, he's got a much nicer car, respect, again Audi, and he was in kind of like, looked like suit attire from what I could see as he was coming up the hill. I spotted him from the number plates. That's just a giveaway. And I was like zoomed in on this bloke, trying not to hit a pothole myself and plunge to my ultimate hospital demise. And I was like, bro, like, people don't change. It's 20 years. I've changed in millions of ways, let's just say, for the better, more shredded, more immaculate, tanned, hair flickering, you know, global status, downloads now, 200,000. But I loved what I was doing then. I still love it now. So Brian Tracy, which was that some hero from Oklahoma or whatever it is, writing books and stuff like that in some barnyard in the backyard with an owl and a bottle of absinthe. He was also talking about what you love doing between 7 and 14 ultimately is where you're going to continue that path. Like, what do you enjoy? And sometimes people enjoy studying and working hard and mathematics, for example, or competition or sports or whatever like that. If you're true to yourself, you're going to stay in those lanes. And me, even though now 40 with a couple of kids, a couple of careers on the roll, I'm still doing things that, I'm staying true to myself in the respect that I can bomb down a hill with a skateboard and not grow up. You know what I mean? You don't want to get old. You're getting old, but don't grow up, if that makes sense. That's really good advice for you out there, because that's another thing that I was thinking about is like life gets boring and monotonous and repetitive. And as Andrew Tate, the new god of the internet, says, you're stuck in the matrix. This guy, while he's in Romania and Moldova bending over chicks in a hotel room, he's giving out advice to blokes to leave the matrix and go and follow his word, which is just loneliness and being attacked by the entire world. But let's be right on one thing. He also has many good points, like stand up, and be assertive, and go training and kick the shit out of some people in a ring with consent. So don't go around the streets bashing up people. But, Andrew Tate, whatever, the most cancelled man on the planet, they can't be cancelled. He's a beast like that. I actually just went on Twitter now. I never go on Twitter because Twitter is just another cesspool of opinionated morons, myself being one of them. I always keep the mirror in front of me. And I was looking at Alex Jones, like a big bear kind of guy. Like, the gay guys in San Francisco, they call themselves bear with a furry chest. They bash each other up and then... Anyway, this guy was like getting sued, and the verdict is... he made some false claims that Sandy Hook, a horrific murder in America of little kids. It was like, I think the kids were in primary school or preschool or something like that. It's the demon that did that, you know what I mean? Right now he's doing shish tayuk with the devil. And whether he shot himself in his stupid head or he's sitting in jail or whatever, he is done. And he's left a trail of just misery and horror for the surviving family members. And this guy, in no good consciousness, apparently said that was all a staged setup from a government, and they were all actors and it didn't happen, and this and this and that, and just the families of this. But I don't know, for people that haven't heard this is my understanding of it, and I'm not the type of guy to harp on about popular events. I'm not a news fucking station here. I'm a motivation station, if anything, trying to enlighten, trying to lift up Vladiators. This is all philosophies in here, mixed up with life strategies, mixed up with who knows what, bro. Audi, mixed up with just general shits and giggles. And so apparently he claimed that was all a setup, which infuriated millions of people and led to his cancellation, and he was deleted from the face of the planet. And then he ended up, still going on Rogan and stuff. This is the thing about Rogan. Rogan is a decent guy, and he tried to get cancelled for saying the N-word. I'm not going to say it, all right? So if you're going to cut that, I'm not going to say it. Even though every rap song that... while you're rapping it at home, you're listening to Tupac or Notorious Big or Jay-Z in America, Jay-Z over here, you are saying the words. You're saying the N-words. What do you think? You're going to silence yourself while you're vacuuming, singing, my adversaries cry like hoes, open and shut like doors. Are you a friend or foe? N-word, you don't know? They got me stuck out in death row, I'm trying to get money, but I want to get mo. You're going to say it at home, all right? And try not to lie. Every white person out here that's riddled with guilt, even though you've done nothing in your life but gone to like Kingsgrove High School, and you worked at Bunnings part-time, and now you're hanging around as a part-time real estate agent in between Uber Eats and going out with your mates trying to impress them wearing a Balmain jersey. You're doing nothing wrong, but you feel guilt, right? And these are the white people. The wogs, we don't feel guilt. We're yelling it out. My mum's singing the lyrics out at home. You know what I mean? We're not saying it to anyone. But it's part of the lyrics, and it's a sing-song event. It's a karaoke. And, if you're going to cut that, you'll never catch me doing it. That's all I'm saying. But all I'm saying is millions are doing it. What are you going to say about it? So Rogan, or Jogan, as we know him on this podcast, he said it. You said the word, or heaven forbid. An Italian bald man that likes to do weights and take marijuana copiously had said the words in a context. They chopped it all together, as we all know the story, and cancelled him. Alex Jones, who was cancelled for misleading the public, saying that this was a staged event at Sandy Hook, he ended up getting cancelled as well. And Rogan had him back on his show. Two cancelled people that are just human beings making mistakes after mistake. They ended up going back together. And it was one of the biggest podcasts downloaded on the Rogan show. Him and Tim Dillon and Alex Jones. And Alex Jones has been saying sorry non-stop since then. I don't know what droga he was on when he claimed that. Like, he's a conspiracy theorist of the highest level, and he goes out continuously digging through files and getting information, misinformation, all of that stuff, and delivering it to millions of people. So you got to bear some responsibility to say, and fervently, staunchly claim that these things are not real. Okay, we understand, Alex Jones, you've made a major mistake. But now they're suing him, and the verdict is in. He has to pay in damages to 8 families or 8 people or something like that, $965 million. 965. You heard me right, not 9.65, $965 million to these families. That's $1 billion. You get a bit of change back. If he handed them $1 billion, they'll throw back 35. 965 million has to be paid to these families. I don't know how he's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you're him and someone goes, you've misled the whole world by saying this is all fake, and you've got millions and millions of people tuning in, and then there was death threats on the family and people rocking up to their house, and this is traumatic, and we all know that, you know, this is a massive problem, what he did. At the same time, how's he going to pay that? He hasn't got the cash, so he has to just go to jail. And guess what? They get nothing then. So it's like these builders that come out here, they build houses off the back of a bunch of illegitimate cash that they get filtered to them. They build these properties, and then you go, my roof fell down 12 months later, and you go, who knows where this guy is, in Tunisia somewhere, drinking tea. You go, hello, Joey, can you come back and fix the roof? No, Joey doesn't, this is not Joey, my name's Wayne. I'm a concreter in Queensland. He's changed his number. You can't get him. It's the same thing that's going to happen to Alex Jones. He's just going to say, got no cash, bro. Sorry, bankrupt. I've got 50 mil. I've got, even that's a lot. I've got 8 mil. He has to go and sit in jail now, which is, I mean, the families, they're going to be cheering for that, for sure. And, well, Jonesy's not going to be cheering for nothing, bro. It's a huge, America, they love to sue each other, bro. I'm praying that Australia doesn't get to the point of that much litigation station. It's too much, bro. You can't chill out. You can't have a laugh. Plus, we're not as mental as the Yankees anyway. Like, I'll probably get sued for calling them Yankees now. We're not as mental as those Yanks. Those guys are, in America, in Australia, they call them septic tanks, which is a Yank. They've called them septic tanks. One of these builders that I worked with once, he was like a stonemason. Not part of the Masons, all right, doing that sign and pretending that you're part of some global network of people that wear green pants with one pant leg pulled up, and all of a sudden, one of my mates, bro, ended up, when he started real estate, this is how desperate he was to solidify himself in a local real estate game. He ended up going to a Mason, like a meeting, a community meeting in some hall in the local area, and standing with the Masons bowing down to cash and saying, you know, oh, who you are, you're cash for now. I don't know what they're praying to. I don't know what Masons are, but all you hear from the TikTok worlds and the Instagram and the Facebook worlds is that the Masons are some undercover people that go into the forest at night time and, you know, deal cash to each other, and they recommend plumbers if you need one. It's some network of these people. Who knows what they are? You don't want to say anything bad. They could be fantastic people, you know what I mean? Who could be listening to this podcast. So I just don't understand why, but, you know, why they're looked at as bad people. Don't know why I've got to this place. This is a massive rabbit hole we've gone down. That's it, bro. I'm a culture vulture. I'm looking at the cultures. I'm trying to decipher. I'm trying to dissect. I'm trying to learn. What do people do? Like, I just keep going back to my grandfather. He's like my favorite kind of wisdom. My favorite tap of wisdom, let's just call him. He's the tap of wisdom. He's the toe. When I speak to him, he'll give me some wisdom. It's like he has led a simple, wholesome life. Let's just call that. He doesn't like to go and do anything bad. He's not a bad dude. Like, he's not a law criminal to say. He doesn't go out and like lift himself up by putting other people down or robbing or stealing. He's just a dude that just went to work and came home and hung out with his wife and had kids and grandkids and great-grandkids. Love that. I don't know. I just like that. Simple, it's boring to many people that have got more options than God in life, but are more miserable than anything. This guy had that kind of simple life. So when I ask him stuff like this, I'm like, what is this group? What is that group? And he just goes, yeah, your life is meaningless, boring. That's boring, mate. It's shit. Like, and then I'm like, your life's boring. You're pulling carrots out of the ground and like trimming a chili plant. Isn't that boring? And he's like, no, mate, not boring. That's life. That's life. And I remember him just came to, to je životo, mate. You gotta enjoy yourself. So his life was like, go to work, all right, this is his life, and you do the same back in those days. Don't act like you'd be Edison or some guy that flies planes around. If you're doing that, you're doing that now. But if you're just going back and forth to work, sitting in the same traffic lights at Carlton, getting the same coffee, sipping, going to work, checking your phone, you know, wishing for designer handbags, you're doing what you would have done back in then, the equivalent. It wouldn't have been designer handbags back then. It would be a nice pair of shoes once every 3 years. That would be your designer handbag. But now you can't go out to a nightclub without a new dress every week because you want to impress some people that can't hack you. That's a boring life to my grandfather. And I'm totally on his side. It's a boring life. It's a vacuous life. I don't know why we're going down this hole, but keep going, bro. I'm just going. You can see behind me, it's the starship, not starship, it's the solar system. We're up in the stars, bro. There's no oxygen here. We're floating around between ideas and philosophies, bro. Vladiators is here to stay. That's how it is. That's what he said about all these groups and these little ideologies and these little kind of grabbing. He calls it grabbing God by the balls. He goes, I'm not trying to grab God by the balls. He goes, he's up there for a reason, and whether that's philosophical, whether you're atheist, who cares? He was talking about stay in your lane, no matter how average your life is, enjoy it. Enjoy what you have. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. That's like my missus singing in some R&B nightclub in 06. Oh no, you're gonna have nothing at all. That's a pretty good, but I think you're moving too fast. A rap. I think it's a pretty good analogy, that song, bro. We're back, baby. We're back. Well, I tell you what, bro. A lot gets under my skin. Like, what is that? Is it just the comedian side of me, or is it just the overthinking side of me? Is it the, who knows? Am I not right? Like, a lot of things irritate you guys. Like, I don't know about me, but for me, a lot gets under my skin. I'm 33 days sober, bro, and not that I had a problem. Just to frame that. I never had a problem with alcohol. Well, I did have what you would call casual alcoholism, which is drinking 2 beers a day or 2 whiskeys a day, and then you just become an average Joe. I don't want to be an average Joe, bro. I want to be Joe Rogan. I don't want to be an average Joe, but I would say that even though, could it be 30? Is it more than 32, 33? Please say it's 34. Please, I've got this thing here on my phone called Less. 33 days. 33 days, bro. That's worth a round of applause. Not a droplet of alcohol has gone into the rig, bro. And if anything, I've got to tell you that for anyone that's out there drinking on the regular, I'm not preaching. So I'll frame it. I'm not preaching here. I'm not one of these recovered people that then ends up despising things. I love durries. I love alcohol. I don't like drugs. Drugs are for catastrophers. Even though alcohol and durries are drugs. And that's a hypocrite warning. You would say you're a hypocrite for doing this, for saying that, Vlad, but it is what it is. Like, that's just what it is. Like, if I have a nip of whiskey with my grandfather and a durry, I don't need to go and have it all the... I won't end up at a strip club. That's the way that I'm thinking. But if I went with my grandfather and a few nips of whiskey and all of that, and then I could end up driving, 140 k's down the M5. I don't know. But then if you roll a spliff, blaze that thing, I could listen to my missus talk for hours. And that's a great side effect, to be honest. But I don't. So I'm just trying to keep the head clear. The reason why, I know people that are 40 years old that have been doing drugs for 20 years, let's call them, that can do drugs and the next day just be totally fine. Just get up and go to work, can function. I don't know whether what's in their body, whether they're just being controlled by like a computer game from another world, like the Truman Show. I don't know. But for me, I have feelings and a brain and emotions and thoughts. And I know if I did that the next day, what's going on upstairs is not a good thing. How am I supposed to give like my best version of myself to the world, to the missus, to the kids, and to the tens of thousands of Vladiators that God has so beautifully bestowed upon thee? I can't. So in good conscience, I can't do it. But anyway, if anything, I can say from 4.5, 5 weeks that I haven't had a drink, it would be physically, my body has shrunk in. So you can see like definition, you can see angles, bro. I'm like a geometry class over here. There's more defo, the definition of a dictionary when I rip the shirt off. I'm not going to do that. Trying to get paid on Instagram here. I'm up to $7 now, estimation. And I would say that's one. Way less emotionally, what would you call it? Emotionally unstable. So way more emotionally stable. Again, not that I wasn't emotionally stable. So don't start wavering down some path that this guy was a nervous wreck. No. It's just subtle. Like, for example, you drink. You go up there, the next day you come down there. You don't go up there and then come back down to regular. There's no such thing. Doesn't work scientifically. Doesn't work in it. It's like going for a 10K run and the next day your legs to be just as strong as they were when you didn't do a 10K run. That doesn't make sense. It's your legs are tired the next day, okay? And then you build up your threshold and people are going to go, these heroes out here that think they're so smart. Yeah, but after a long time, your legs get really strong. So the next day they're the same. No, do 50Ks then and see if the next day they're the same. Up it, hero. That's what I'm trying to get through to these people that are hypercritical in a scientific sense, even though they don't know what a man or a woman is anymore these days. And if you say that a woman has tits and a man has a cock and two balls, they're going to call you a bigot and throw you into some concentration camp one day. That's how far people have gone mental these days. And I'm here getting angry about this stuff. That's my point, wrapping it back. 5 minutes into this segment, and I'm still remembering exactly what I started the segment for. This is the opening Woggalog, bro. The opening Woggalog, I'm just filtering through thoughts that try to escape my mind through this beautiful microphone they have here and then into the minds of thousands of, obviously wise folk. I remember some comedian once goes, you can't get angry at folks. So he goes, you never be at a party where you go, we're having a great night, man, and these fucking folks walked in. You can't get angry at folks. Like, you always think folks, they're nice people. And I'm not talking about parents, but just people, called folks. You go, this gang walked in, fuck the whole night, but these folks walked in, you're not getting angry at them. So if anything, the body has shrunk. I got a body composition scan. She said I'm shredded. She said, if anything, I've got too much muscle on my body because I have the legs of a Roman Greco wrestler. Why is my shoulders crocked? Which one's higher? This one. The legs of a Roman Greco wrestler, some rock climbing champion, some guy that can pull a horse or a horse pull them. And she goes, you need to lose a little bit of fat around the midsection. I go, that's because of 2 years of having a victim mentality during COVID and drinking crafties every day. But now we're getting shredded. We're coming back to lone wolf licking. Next year, we're going huge with the shows. All right, we're selling the Palais Theatre out in Melbourne. It's 3,000 tickets. Get your tickets when I put them on sale, not now. And Sydney, if you're listening, the show's 50% sold at the Comedy Store. You should come down Sunday, November the 13th. Bunch of new material. Going down, way down Vladiators in Wonderland rabbit hole. It's called River Liquor, the show, and it's a one-off night, special night, boutique, gonna film it, 200 people. It's already half sold. So that's one. Got a little bit like tighter. The bloating's gone down in my face. The gut is definitely less bloated. Can breathe easier. I look better in my skin. I look younger. Don't look as thick or older. So you can see, go back 5-6 weeks on the podcast. Have a look at my head and then have a look at this head. Immac. And then the other thing is I sleep generally better and I don't need to sleep as much. I can sleep from like 11 till 5:36. Pretty good with that. Used to have to go to bed about 9:30, I sleep till 6:30, still don't feel refreshed. Because the organ stations, they're still filtering out the fucking double hop, the hazy IPA that I had the night before. 2 of them, they're filtering that out. So you go to bed, you've had 2 enchiladas with sour cream on top, plus you've had 2 400ml cans, you've necked them down, you're having a great time, you're loving life, and then the next morning you're waking up like an old pair of pajamas that have been run over by several Jeep with Cherokees. It's your choice, you know, but I'm just saying my experience, again, not you could do what you want, don't care. You can put alcohol in your ass if you want. I've seen people do that. Not in real life, but there's been videos that have shown me that people put some type of pipe and he's chugging beer in his ass. I mean, the world is over. Okay, let's take some questions. Really pitch como market in this neck. All right, let's go. Questions for Vlad. This week, motorsport, details. All right. 3 favourite movies and why? 3 favourite movies and why? Oh, bro, I'm not like some cinema fanatic where you would say, I am actually, I do like a good movie. I love that. I love a good movie. I like kind of stuff that becomes like cult like. Not, I don't go to the Dendy and watch French cinema. That's not me. You're not going to see me walking around with my missus wearing a floral dress going to watch French cinema. Even though if I was to slide in there and someone goes, you got to watch this French cinema or this Spanish cinema or this Tunisian cinema, I will go there and it's got to be good and I'll enjoy it. And I do enjoy it. But to be honest, the way that the brain works, I need a rest. So when I watch a movie, it's more for like, can I kick back? You know what I mean? I'm like some genius chef that's just doing the best bistrot kind of food, and then he gets a cheeseburger on the way home. It's like I've been dealing with soufflés all day, bro. I can't be dealing with that. I'm not going to have a filet mignon, steak frites at the end of it like a freak. I'm just getting a little Macca's cheeseburger and going home and smoking a durry on the balcony in my French laneway in Saint-Germain. It's just how that kind of brain works. I'm a right arse. I don't want to think too heavily. But then I'll watch some movie like There Will Be Blood and it'll blow my mind away. And I'll go, this movie is phenomenal and how come I didn't watch it soon? It took me 10 years to watch it. Like The Godfather, I watched it for the first time in 2015. Blew my mind. I couldn't hack that the hype was that big. I was like, I don't want to watch it. Everyone's talking about it. Or Scarface. I remember everyone's talking about Scarface. And I watched it. Amazing movie. Loved it. So I don't know about 3, bro. Like again, not to overanalyze, but the things that come to your mind quickly is probably what you like the most, you know, or what's put in your brain the most. I would say, all right, I love Tintin Quarantino. All right. So what's his name? Kill Bill was part 1 and 2. We're just going to call them as one unit. I love that movie. Those movies. I like Uma Thurman. I like the people that are acting in it. I love the premise of the kung fu, the gory murder scenes, the real vivid colours that they use, like that kind of, they blend in similar colours into the scene, so then it just looks like the 2 actors are just having a brawl. Like I love the caravan scene with the snake. Oh, it's just brilliant. Like Tintin Quarantino has a great way to capture a scene where you can't take your eyes off him, just like me, similar like me. He's got that ability to entertain, and he's a buckled head. That guy's finished. Like if you got diagnosed by a psychologist, they'll throw themselves off the roof trying to read his brain. He's just like that. He's not built to be a real estate agent, door knocking up and down Dora Street. This guy is built to entertain people with thoughts, provocation, evocation, station. So, I mean, they're just another sample of rapping. But I would say Kill Bill 1 and 2, love those movies. And then I watched a whole bunch of other Tintin Quarantino's, Pulp Fiction, this and that. I like that. But Kill Bill 1 and 2 is definitely top 3 for me. When I watched it, blew my mind. It's the type of movie that I can put on again and watch it comfortably, love it, love the scenery, love the way, the music, the soundtrack, everything about it. And it's a hero's journey. All good movies are a hero's journey. I watched The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson, and that was awesome movie. It made me cry a lot. Because I have passion for Christ, and when the moment I could see him getting hit by the heathens, I just, was like, this is, I felt like the screaming, the crying, and the mother and all of that. It's a bit heavy. That's probably why Gil Mibson was drinking a lot of alcohol. Just that movie just buckled him. So Kill Bill 1 and 2, as I was saying, hero's journey. Batman, The Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan series. So when I got back from Europe in 06, 07 or whatever it was, I remember going to what happened to be like blockbuster videos. So that was still around, 05, 06, 07, but they were starting to tail end. People were downloading on Pirate Bay. They were downloading Jenna Jameson porno, anal scene, and then also Batman The Dark Knight at the same time. So I was starting to get savvy about illegally downloading and running the risk of spending time in jail next to some heathens. But I didn't, so I went to the Blockbuster, and I ended up, even though I have downloaded, but you can't catch it, I've deleted it all, there's no say. I've never downloaded in my life. I ended up going to Blockbuster, and when I was walking the aisles, as you do, looking at new movies, some Bruce Willis movie, some girl remake of fucking Spider-Man, or, the Ghostbusters movie or some stupid shit like that where they have to compete with men all the time just because they're women. They have to compete all the time because they think everything's unfair, everything's perfectly fair. But, maybe not perfectly fair, but decently enough, don't complain, don't make a movie and botch the old one. Going to get smashed for that. Who cares? Anyway, so I looked and I saw Dark Knight. Not Dark Knight, Batman Begins, right? And I thought, Batman Begins? I was a Batman fan from a child. I love Batman. I've probably spoken about it on the podcast. He's my favourite superhero, even though, because he's just a regular bloke that's totally shredded, drives around in a Lambo, lives in a lair under the house of a billionaire's philanthropist, like Bill Gates, probably giving injections to everyone for no real reason. Who knows? I've still got cloggy lungs from it, probably from the COVID, all that, who knows? And then he goes around like a vigilante, saving people from the criminals of the city and the people with ill will. Now, I love that. I loved Batman. I liked what he was doing. I liked that he was concerned and he went out on a limb and just laid these people out and went out with cars and these cool gadgets. And I like the justice side of things, because when a city's overrun by mongs like it is in Gotham City, along comes someone over like him. Anyway, this is all fairy tale, but I just liked it. So then I saw Batman Begins, blew my mind. I go, this Batman is usually this far-fetched, shitty movie with Mr. Freeze, aka Arnold Schwarzenegger, going, oh, freeze you, brother. Shit, the first Batman, which was with Michael Keaton, mad. Maybe Batman Returns, that was pretty good, dark, I liked it. And then after that, it just got shit. The one with Jim Carrey was boring, the one after that wasn't good. But Batman Begins was, for me, the best. And then when I heard in 2010 that Dark Knight was coming out, because I love the people that he goes up against, the nemesis. Like in the first one, he had Crowface or Scarecrow or some guy that was gassing people with drugs, psychedelics and stuff, giving them insight of life so they can start up, different companies in Silicon Valley. He was doing that. and they would just start tripping out and just working out how to make an app. But now he had the Joker, and the Joker is like a demon of a bloke that's really nice in one way, but has been scarred, and then he hates the world and he wants to wreak revenge upon die. So I like that. I like that him and Batman were quite alike, but just two sides of the one coin. And ironically enough, Two-Face comes to that. Another guy that was out for justice, but then he got burnt in his face, and then he said the world's a hellhole and I'm going to treat it like such. So he goes out on trying to, you know, because the Joker got into his head. It's all good and evil, bro. The whole world is just good and evil. It's a simple thing. Everything, Peter Jordanson says this stuff. It's the hero's journey. There's a hero, the person that's in the, like the highlight, like Batman, for example, the main character, he's the hero in the journey. And then there's people trying to buckle him along the way. Kill Bill is quite the same. She's the victim. She got punched and kicked and shot, and she was pregnant, and then she was in a coma and tried to get murdered, and then she got put into a coffin and buried alive, and she was through the hero's journey till she got the ultimate revenge or success or whatever it is. Like, it's her journey to break through that ice. So that's what human beings relate to. Don't know why, but it's pretty awesome, because you watch that shit, you get a kick if you've got any type of offset whatsoever. So it's probably the Kill Bill 1 and 2, the Batman Nolan series. In order of my favourites, it's got to be Dark Knight as my favourite, then Batman Begins. Batman Begins was my favourite, but it got Donald Trumped by Dark Knight. So Dark Knight, then Begins, and then the one with Bane last. I didn't like that much, to be honest. But they're top three. That'll be number 10, and then you got to have some comedy. Maybe Superbad. I loved it. That goofy, shitty humor that was very funny to me. That was the equivalent of like a Dumb and Dumber. When Dumb and Dumber came out in 1995, I borrowed it and I watched it every day for 7 days straight. It was school holidays. I remember, again, Blockbuster Video, going on my BMX bike. My little cousin was just born. Shout out to James if you're listening. And went on my bike, got Dumb and Dumber. It was a rainy day, hired it for 2 days, brought it back, and I said to the little girl that was working there, she's not little anymore, she'd be in her 40s now, or 30s, not sure, and I said, can I borrow it again? She's like, yeah, it's all right, another $5, bang, took it for another 2 nights, brought it back, another $5, took it for another 2 nights, took it for 6 or 7 nights, and watched Dumb and Dumber every day. At least 2 to 3 times a day, I watched that movie. I'm obsessive, I'm compulsive, I'm repetitive, I just watch. It blew me away that much, the humor in that movie, how well written it was for the 90s. It was hilarious. Again, another hero's journey, a goofy moron trying to find the love of his life. And maybe I liked Friday as well with Q-Bias. He's all right. That guy is pretty funny. I like him. Chris Tucker, the smoking of the weed, again, the hero's journey, being bullied, and he has to overcome that and all that. Fantastic movie. I like that in a comedy thing. I'm missing some, but these is probably they're the ones that come to my mind, bro. I like stuff like that. Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man. I like that stuff. I'm currently watching the Wu-Tang Saga, which is the Wu-Tang series on Stan, and it's called An American Saga. Wu-Tang, An American Saga. This is a great series, bro. Like, I'm up to episode 5. I love it. I love the Wu-Tang people, the RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Method Man, You God, Capadonna, Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killer, Master Killer. I know them all, bro. Killer Priest, which is a little bit anti-religion, but apparently talks about religion, which is, it's weird, but it's all the devil's in the details, no pun intended. I like the Wu-Tang, and this is a story of RZA. He calls himself Bobby Diggs or something, that's his real name, and he's like ascent to greatness in the music world, and it's a mad 90s insight of the 90s crack dealing kind of world that it was in New York, Staten Island, Brooklyn represent. This is the other thing that I find funny about the culture. That's why I'm a culture vulture. There's people that would put a poster of Brooklyn in their bedroom. He lives in Carlton South. Here, he's a Macedonian guy with a photo of a street sign saying Crenshaw or Compton. You know how weird it would be, bro, if you went to Crenshaw or Compton and you walked in and in their room it said Carlton? That's a weird world, bro. Like if these guys, the rapper, the Kendrick Lamars, the Ice Cubes and all of these other drinks, if they were just going, you walk into their house and they're like, yeah, man, we love Dolls Point, bro. Yeah, Dolls Point. Yeah, represent. Parramatta, bro, represent. P-Town. We love it, man. Well, you guys are representing over there, P-Town. You know, what is that shit? I don't understand it. I do understand it because I've been in the hip-hop world. I've told you I'm a rapper from day one, but if you're watching the video, you understand. If you're listening, I'm throwing up gang signs. What are you doing? Anyway, thanks for the question, bro. Let's go. Questions for Vlad, Alex Bits. Do you think there is more pressure on males to provide for their family or less so in today's day and age? Probably. Is there more pressure on blokes? Bro, it's a cultural thing. I don't know. Like my wife makes good money. I make good money. It's good enough. It's not like the best money in the world, but it's good enough. I'm not complaining. I've got the electric skateboard to come here. I drove in an Audi to drop off my kids. I live in a good area. Like, I don't know, like, what do you, whether it's a cultural thing and it's a familial thing as well. Like there's some families where the dad will demand that the son becomes, a millionaire or multimillionaire by the time he's 30 years old at any cost. There's other families that do. It's a culture. It's a familial thing. Firstly, it's a cultural thing. But look, man, girls want to work. Go work, bro. Beautiful. Keep working. Bring home the bacon, sweetheart. I'm going to be here watching the Wu-Tang series. Go and do it. Like women complained for years that they had to stay home and look after the kids. It is not an easy job looking after kids. I look after them intermittently because I can rap freely. So the kids fall upon thee more than they fall upon the missus. My missus more on the weekends, but even then I'm there to help. But I would say whether the pressure is there for the man, no one's working anyway these days. So what are you doing? Who's working? Who's actually working? Unless you're a tradie, and even those people, they're taking 4 months to come and give me a quote on a roof, and my roof's still leaking over here. People are working less than ever before, and probably rightfully so, because inflation's cracked up the price of a push bike to 15 grand, and the increases of wages have gone up 5% over the last 3 years. So it's not like there's any incentive to be going that hard. But I mean, as Peter Jordan had said, where responsibility is abdicated, that's where the opportunity lies. So if you want to maximize cash now, just go to work. Go to work. People aren't working, and you can make the lion's share of cash in your chosen field. I mean, obviously, some fields are saturated and you can't compete, but there's a lot of stuff out there. If I was a tradie now, I'd be making millions of dollars. I'd just work all day, every day, because there's so much needed from the natural disasters that are happening. Any trade, whether it's a bricklayer or plumber, there's too much work. So they're making a lot of things. For real estate, it's challenging at the moment because prices are stagnant and dropping, interest rates are skyrocketing, people can't afford it, banks aren't loaning it out, inflation station's happening. Real estate, it's a low motivation job. If you just jumped into real estate now, you'll shave your head and turn to Islam by the end of the year because it's hard to even get one listing. So I would say whether there's pressure on blokes, there's pressure on you as much as you put pressure on yourself. If you've got a good missus, a good partner that understands your plight in life and understands your journey and understands your vision, and if you're not a catastrophe that's just lying to her so you can go out to the Ivy Pool on the weekend and get off your head while prospecting for other women, then you can work out a deal where you go, babe, this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing, let's just, pull some cash together and we'll work it out. If you get pregnant and you stay home, I'll pull the train. And if you, if I get pregnant, which can happen these days, I'll stay home and you pull the train. And there's nothing, if you're going to cut that, you go check the science. Apparently you can get pregnant now. So I'm watching myself, being careful that the missus doesn't throw one in me and I end up pregnant. Already got 2 kids, happy with that. That's it, bro. Pull the train. The other thing is, you don't need to buy an entire multiplex complex of 415 units overlooking the Sydney Harbour. You don't need all of that. You can if you want it. Those people that want that stuff, they're not listening to this podcast. I'm hitting them with too much reality. It's like them when they step on the scale, they go, 140, fuck. Don't move that scale away from me, bro. It's too much for them. When it's raining, these guys are pretending it's sunshine now. When I'm hitting them with this, I'm going, you don't need to do all of that. They're like, this guy's not an achiever, man. I'm out here trying to be a boss. Trying to be a boss, bro, like Rick Ross, and have a piano that plays itself, as Crystalia said, at home. He's got cows now, milking cows. He's bored. He's bored. He's bored. That's all I'm saying. My grandfather said it perfectly. We got that much money, you end up putting butter in your ass crack because you don't know what else to do. You butter your asshole. You sit at home, got too much dough, got too much time. Where the hell is the butter? Where's the Lurpak? Do what you love if you're good at it. Otherwise, do what you can. Bring some cash. Bring enough cash. If you somehow slip into an income stream where you can make a lot of money, which a lot of people I know have, then, trudge the path, bro. Make money. Money brings you contentment and safety and options and freedom. You need cash. You got to rap. Again, do you need 75 Bentleys? That's up to you. It's like Andrew Tate. He's got 29 supercars. But if he had 3 kids running around, he wouldn't even know where the keys are for him because his son would have flushed them down the toilet. He's doing all of that because that's the current purview that he's in. He's living in Romania, doing burnouts in his driveway. He's still acting like what I was when I was 18 years old. I'll do this exact same thing if I had hundreds of millions of dollars and shredded with a tattoo of a snake wrapping around my arm. I'd do the same thing. Not judging thee, just explaining the perspective, this, that. And if he wants to come on this podcast, I'll have an interview him because you probably want to bash me by the end of it. But, bro, do what you can and do good. Do good, be good, get good. Simple as that. 3 things for the rest of your life, what would they be? If you could only pick 3 things for the rest of your life, what would they be and why? I'm guessing you're talking about tangible things, right? Like, if I'm going to say 3 things, it's going to be my family, my missus and my 2 kids. Like, that's all I need, and my health. But let's just say that they're already there. Like, they've got the kids and the missus, and I've got my health. They're there. What are the 3 things that I'm going to, for the rest of your life, what would they be and why? Again, it's like health that's it. It's just health. But just say the health is there. Would I say Audi? Would I say my hairstyle? Probably not. I'll probably say my passion for life. That's one. I would want to maintain the desire that I have to continue doing things in life. So I don't want to lose that. I don't want to drop that. I'm a driven person. I'm very driven. Albeit very scattered in many ways. That's probably like adult ADHD from too much telephone time. And I'm trying to get over that, bro. The drinking's first, the telephone's next. Who knows what's after that, So it's just evolution, bro. That's how we do it. But I would say probably my passion for life, like my drive and determination. I'm very resilient of a person. I can continue trying and trying. Things that I love and appreciate. That's the thing. You don't go down the pathway. Who said it? John Legend. Better be halfway up a ladder you want to climb better be at the bottom of a ladder you want to climb than halfway up one that you don't. The passion for me is my family, and what I'm currently doing it's passion. I love it, bro. Like, what am I going to say? Like, having a laugh with people. I was at the gym the other day. Some bloke comes up to me. I didn't have the mask on, And he noticed me because I'm the only guy in Sydney with hair flickering. The rest of you guys all shorn like a sheep. So I was there and he was like, do I know you, bro? I was like, no. And then he goes, are you Vlad? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, nice to meet you, bro. I listened to all your stuff, been following you for ages. A young guy, Lebo guy. And he was very nice. He was very complimentary. We had a quick exchange, 10, 15 seconds. I had my son with me. And that like filled my heart, bro. Like I don't know if it's superficial or not. Like, am I a narcissist? I don't know. There's too much information coming out. You get that, what's it called, where you think that you're pretending what was it? My sister-in-law said, imposter syndrome. She goes, you've got imposter syndrome at times. You doubt yourself. I'm a human being, bro. If I didn't doubt myself, I'd be a psychopath by now. Like I doubt things because that's the culture I'm raised in. Like I've been told, like, this is bullshit. I'm kind of happy with that, to be honest. I don't want to be the type of guy that's so confident that I end up becoming like Stalin or Hitler. I'm not like that. I'm more like, then that part of my analytical head can decipher things that are comical, I would say. You know, if I was overly confident about stuff like that, I don't think I'd be able to write things that could see both sides of things. But, I mean, swings and roundabouts, bro. So that would be the passion for life, would be my drive and passion. I'm going again that, I don't know about things. I don't need anything. You know, shelter, bro, some transport, a surfboard, that's enough. Like, you know, the ability to play tennis, like that goes under health. My family, that goes under fulfillment. My passion for life and doing things to at least Vladiators, like give some philosophical kind of fun, let's call it, out to the world is fun to me, bro. I like that. I don't want to be the podcast where you put it on and I'm just continuously telling you about like just vapid shit. I don't want to do that, bro. It's never been about that. It's always been about like fun, but at the same time stitched with a little bit of depth. That's how it is. So the passion and the drive, I'd like to keep a fun lightness to the world. So I want to do fun stuff. Like I like that. And I want freedom. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of TikTok and listening to people that we're going to end up in a virtual jail. We kind of, in one way you can analyze that we're already like that, but in another way you can look at it and go, you're not like that, and stop selling yourself these bullshit lies, because then you walk through life perceiving things like that, and it's not a good way to look at the world, because then you're continuously going to feel trapped, and that's just another way to keep you trapped and not ascend to the next level in Mario World. So I would say they're the three things, bro. Passion, fun, and freedom. And again, if you're looking at physical things, I want shelter, I want transport, and I want a surfboard. And that's it. All right, wrap. In Jordan Young, what is your end game of comedy? And Jake Ratzkis. What do you feel is the most exciting prospect for the DisDat podcast in the next 5 years? Couple those two together. All right, let's go with the Jake Karowski's. What I feel is the most exciting prospect? Continue building an audience is obvious, bro. I want people going like, bro, we're going left, I'm about to stitch it. Like, that's fun, bro. We've built a family over the years anyway. It's been three years now. Actually, the page is like 3, but the podcast is 10. I'm very happy with the level of listenership. I wasn't going to say success here, like Gary Vee, but yeah, I'll probably say, what if it's the most exciting prospect? Bro, I'd like to start a studio to have a better outlook and not be in the double brick garage. Hopefully it doesn't take away from the thoughts, the quality. I want to keep that going. Do a studio, have some more interactions. I'm bringing a friend of mine on who's a positive psychologist. He's going to be coming on soon, and we're gonna versus each other in his mentality versus mine. We're very different. We're mates, but very different in the way we look at life, bro. Let's just say I'm wearing black. This guy continuously wears pink. Let's just put it that way. And we're going to have a bit of a chat about that. So meet some more people, more interesting. Might do some live stuff. I'd like to do like interactions with fans, like call people on the phone, a little bit more of that kind of stuff. Sketches, a bit just bigger and better. Just climb it up, bro. That's what I reckon is going to get bigger and better over the years. And build a big channel, get signed up by Spotify, get 10 million bucks, whatever, put it in a savings account and just continue going on skateboarding to work. What is the end game with comedy? Jordan Young. Why do I have to have an end game? I don't have an end game, bro. I told you guys years ago, I'm doing things one podcast at a time, one sentence at a time, one sketch at a time. I do have like visions of where I want to go. Obviously want to get international, man of stitchery. It's got to be 007.5. I've got to go international because there's billions of people that I reckon we can have a lot of fun with. Why not? Go out there, talk about the strategies, the 10 rules of success. Go out there and talk about the WOG life. Go talk about Euros. Go talk about the catastrophe of the world, how people have lost it, why people are losing it, and why I'm about to lose it. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. And I want to meet more people, want to be able to travel and take my family out and just live an inspired life. That's what Wayne Dyer said, is living an inspired life. It's good. I want to write a book. I'm putting it out there to the world right now. I'm going to write a book. I'm not wanting to. I'm going to write a book, which is going to be G-rated, PG-rated, about just a bunch of stuff. I'm writing a couple of things down now. I've started and I'm writing, and who knows how long it's going to take, but you got to start setting things in motion. I had a picture of the electric skateboard on my wall 2 years ago. 2 years later, riding the skateboard. As trivial as that is, I had a picture of a house on my wall in 2016, and 2018 I got the house. There's a 2-year turnaround time for me. I had the car on the wall, had the missus, had the kids. I have a vision board, so, I mean, that's a good tip, bro, for anyone that's out here. Throw a vision board on the wall and say where you want to be. Shredded, stop hanging around with Dimchev, Borche, Blagoche. Just have fun more, have a balance. Find a Mrs. Proprietary Limited. I know it's tough out there for young people to find girls these days because, I mean, let's be honest, girls are saying guys are nowhere and guys are saying girls are nowhere. So you both get somewhere, and then you'll be able to work that equation out quite quickly. And I don't know, maybe meet some comedians that I love. Like I love Sebastian Maniscalco. I'd like to do some touring with him. I kind of listened to his stuff just before I met him, just before I started this journey. And he was the one that said to me on the canyons in America, do comedy, you're funny. Because I just had 30 seconds, a minute talk with him and his missus. And I kind of made him laugh a few times. And I was like, I'm thinking about it, bro. You know what I mean? I'm in a band. I look like Bon Jovi. What do you reckon? He's like, man, you should do it. You should do it. You're funny. You're funny. And I was like, if he said that, you know what I mean? If you're going to cut that, then, listen, look at Sebastian Maniscalco. He's one of the funniest people I've ever heard or seen in my life. Love him. Very funny. And the end game is that's it, man. Yes, I don't have forever, bro. I don't have forever. I'm halfway through my life. Like, you're not going to live forever. What from 70 or 60 onwards, what are you going to do? People don't care. Like, people get over you. And I can see it. Like, I can see that. So I'm trying to stabilize myself with stuff that I'm not going to get over, which is like real life shit, family and other stuff that I can focus on as well. Because even me, I might just throw the towel in. Hey, boys, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much. I'm not doing this anymore. I'll see you later. I just close the shit. I've been known to do it. So I don't know. Like, I can't answer that, bro. But at the moment, I appreciate everyone that listens, everyone that goes on to the stations and listens to the show, and everyone that goes onto my pages and supports me, comes to the shows and buys the merch and shares, millions of shares and views and talks and meets me in the street and all of that. That's something that I'll definitely never take for granted. And as much as like people say, oh yeah, I don't know, it's like a newfound fame that I had a few years ago, but it felt natural to me. I didn't feel like I had to lick people's ass just because I liked what I was doing. I genuinely respect that they gave me their time and their share and their like or whatever it is. I respect it for that, bro. And that's where it ends. We have a handshake and we have mutual respect for one another and a liking for one another. Now, I'm not going to go and post every single person that's ever done anything for me a 5-page story and pretend like they saved my life, because that I see people doing that, and it's just a desperate clutch at that veneration. It's not right. Like, it's mad that we have a kind of a unit and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's, imagine if I did that. Imagine if I did that. I was like, oh, thank you, man. Oh, thank you so much for everything. Say it once, bro, and be real with it, and that's it. And I just said it now, so I'm being real with it. I love you. I gotta leave you, bro. This song's called Family Matters. I heard it from someone the other day, and I liked it a lot. Be good, do good, get good, bro. Rap.
Family matters. It's all part of the time.